I'll never forget the way her screams tore through the morning air, sharp and desperate, bouncing off the walls of my old barn. It was a sound that could have curdled milk-high-pitched wails tangled with the deep, rumbling snorts of my two bulls, Rusty and Titan. I stood there in my backyard, cradling a mug of black coffee, the early sun glinting off the barn's tin roof. The frantic pounding on the heavy wooden door almost made me crack a grin. Almost. Should have stayed out of my barn, Linda. I muttered under my breath, pulling out my phone to call the sheriff. I wasn't in a rush. Rusty and Titan? They're gentle as lambs, despite their size. But Linda didn't know that, and after months of her nonsense, I figure a little scare was fair play. 3 years ago, I left behind 20 years of military life and sank every penny I'd saved into this 10-acre slice of paradise. A cozy ranch house, 2 sturdy barns, and enough pasture for my small herd of catlight was the dream I'd clung to during endless deployments. Peace, quiet, room to breathe. The only snag? My land butted up against Willow Creek Estates, a gated community with an HOA stricter than a drill sergeant. And Linda Harper, the HOA queen bee, thought she ruled everything her eyes could see, including my property. Trouble started the day I moved in. First, it was griping about my tractor rumbling too early. Then, she whined about the foul smell of my cows. Next, she marched to the county, claiming my barns were an eyesore dragging down Willow Creek's property values. Each time, the county folks politely told her my land wasn't under her HOA's thumb and I wasn't breaking any rules. Did that stop her? Nope. It just lit a fiercer fire under her. Things got real heated last month when I decided to fix the fence separating my land from Willow Creek. My survey showed the old fence sat 3 feet inside my property line, so I planned to move it and reclaim what was mine. Linda showed up the second I started, while VYing papers and barking that the fence's position was set in stone and couldn't be touched. I showed her my survey, calm as could be. Her face turned beet red, and she jabbed a manicured finger at me. "This isn't over, Mark," she hissed. "I'll be checking every inch of your property for violations. You'll be drowning in fines." I just shrugged. I'd faced down warlords scarier than her. A few days later, weird stuff started happening. Tools vanished from my workshop. Hay bales got sliced open, their guts scattered across the barn floor. I thought it might be bored kids, but my security cameras told a different story. Nighttime footage caught Linda, decked out in black like some wannabe ninja, sneaking onto my land after midnight. She crept into my barn, tampering with my gear. In one clip, she sprayed something on my hay later. I found out it was cheap perfume, probably meant to sicken my animals. That was the last straw. I could have gone straight to the cops, but that'd just spark a messy back and forth with no hard proof. No, I needed to catch her in the act, undeniable and red-handed. So I hatched a plan 100 Fantram legal, but guaranteed to teach Linda a lesson she'd never forget. I rigged silent alarms to ping my phone if anyone entered the barn. I swapped out the main barn door's lock for a heavy-duty automatic one that snapped shut tight once the door closed. It was meant to keep my animals safe, or so I'd tell the sheriff. Then I moved Rusty and Titan, my 2 biggest bulls, into the main stall. They're sweethearts, happy to munch hay all day, but at 2,000 pounds each with horns like battering rams, they'd spook anyone who didn't know them. I didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, my phone buzzed while I was sipping my morning coffee. Someone was in the barn. I pulled up the live feed, and there was Linda in designer jeans and a silk blouse, sneaking around with a big purse, probably plotting more trouble. I watched her creep deeper inside, then jump as the door slammed shut with a thud. The lock clicked, loud and final. What happened next was better than any movie. Linda yanked at the door, found it locked, and turned to see Rusty and Titan for the first time. They'd glanced up from their hay, curious about the intruder. Her scream was so loud it fritzed the camera's audio. She flattened herself against the door, clawing at the handle while the bulls just stared, snorting now and then, shifting their massive weight. To Linda, it must have looked like they were about to charge. I took my sweet time strolling down the barn, but not before calling the sheriff. "Got a trespasser in my barn," I said, cool as a cucumber. "She's locked in with my bulls." They won't hurt her, but she's been vandalizing my property for weeks. I've got VY Deo. By the time I got there, Linda's screams had melted into sobs. Through the door, I heard her begging the bulls to stay back, swearing she'd leave me alone if they didn't trample her. I didn't say a word, just leaned against a tree and waited. Rusty and Titan? They'd already lost interest and gone back to their hay. When Sheriff Daniels rolled up with 2 deputies, I laid it all out, showing them the footage not just from that morning, but from her late-night vandalism sprees. The sheriff's face darkened as he watched Linda spray perfume on my hay. "Let's get her out," he said. I unlocked the door, and Linda burst out, mascara streaking her face, tears pouring. She ran to the sheriff, pointing at the barn like it was a haunted house. "Those beasts tried to kill me," she shrieked. "He trapped me in there. Arrest him." Sheriff Daniels peeked inside, where Rusty and Titan were calmly chewing, looking about as dangerous as oversized teddy bears. He turned to Linda. "Ma'am, these VY Deos show you trespassing and vandalizing Mr. Thompson's property. Care to explain why you were in his barn?" Linda's entitled fury crumbled into stammering. "I'm the Willow Creek HOA president. I was inspecting. The community has concerns." The sheriff cut her off. "Your HOA stops at your gates. This is criminal trespass, vandalism, and attempted animal cruelty." As a deputy cuffed her and read her rights, Linda glared at me, venom in her eyes. "That barn's a disgrace," she yelled. "The HOA will sue you." Sheriff Daniels shook his head. "Ma'am, you're facing felony charges. I'd save your breath for a lawyer." Her face went white as the reality hid not some HOA fine, but real jail time. 2 weeks later, I sat in the county courthouse, watching Linda face the judge. Gone were her flashy outfits, replaced by a plain suit. Her usual swagger was nowhere to be found. She tried to spin a sob story about doing her duty as HOA president, but the judge wasn't buying it. Guilty of criminal trespass, vandalism, and attempted animal endangerment, he declared. 60 days in jail, 2 years probation, due law $5,000 in fines, due law $3,200 in restitution to the VY Tim, and a 500-foot restraining order from Mr. Thompson's property. Linda gripped the table, swaying. "But, Your Honor," she whispered, "I'll lose my job, the HOA." The judge didn't blink. "You should have thought of that before breaking the law. Maybe this'll teach you where your authority ends." As the bailiff led her away, Linda glanced back at me. The fire in her eyes was gone, replaced by raw shock. For the first time, Linda Harper was speechless, hit hard by the consequences of her own actions. My land's been quiet since, and I'm back to my coffee and sunrises. No HOA, queen to ruin the VYEW. Now, what do you think? Was I wrong to let Linda sweat it out with the bulls, even for a few minutes? Should I have gone straight to the cops instead of setting up that trap? Was her punishment too harsh? Or did she get what she deserved? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're team justice, and subscribe for more wild stories like this one.